Yo, what's going on everybody? How you guys doing? It's Barba223. Welcome back to another video. So, if you want to be able to tank a whole team, if you want to be able to just sit there, take damage, don't worry about anything else, this video's for you, I swear. This build video is going to be good. This Magden build is sick. And honestly, like, it's one of my favorites that I've made in a while. It's pretty easy to make. You could buy all the gear off the store. It's just a really solid build. It's tanky, it has a lot of penetration, it hits hard, and with a couple of different iterations, it could also become a stamina build. And on top of that, it also could become really fast, hit harder, whatever you want to do based on a mythic item. So I hope you guys are ready for the video, and if this little clip here in the beginning is any indicator of how the build will go, then it's going to be good. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Welcome back to another video, and let's just get right into it as soon as this clip ends. Alright, let's get right into the build, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it, and make sure you like and comment if you enjoy the video. So first we're going to start with the character screen. So basically, here is where our stats are at. So these stats are obviously on buff, so it does get a lot different than what this is, but we will buff up to just a show. So 28k magic, that's before our ultimate. We have 32k health, which is a good solid number. I try to get around 30k at the least, so that's not bad. We do have 17k stamina. This could be changed based on the food, but totally up to you. I'll make sure I cover that. We have 3759 spell damage. Not bad, not great. It does go higher than this, so it's pretty good. We have 18% crit. Not amazing, but we are using Malakath, so it's not that big of a deal. Then we have 8k penetration before our major breach. Next patch we're going to get major breach and minor breach based on our deep fissure, so that's really nice. And then we have 23k spell resistance and 19k physical resistance. It really doesn't feel bad, honestly. I know it's not super high. 20k is for me, the absolute minimum. So it is better than what you might think it is. You do get minor protection, you get Malabest Scourger to proc and all this, so it is good. You're pretty survivable. Magic recovery is 1300 before you use a pot, before your Betty Netch, so it's pretty solid. You could even probably use less recovery than this. You could probably go down to 1000 if you want. And on top of it, another set of ours gives us about 500 recovery. It just doesn't show it on the character screen. So we're using 34 magic, fit 30 health, like I said, to get above that 30k threshold. For the food, we are using Bewitched Sugar Skulls. Now you could change this to a different food if you really, really want to. I forget exactly what the food is called. This is it right here. Solitude Salmon Malay Soup. It gives you a little bit more magic and health, but I really prefer having that extra stamina to roll and whatnot. So that's just my opinion on it. And then we're using the Atronachmundus for recovery. So yeah, if you want to stop and look at anything, feel free to pause the video. Now we are using Desert Rose for our front bar set with sharpened on it. We're using a flame staff. Now you have two options. You could either use a flame staff or lightning staff. Lightning staff's going to be better for your deep fissure and your ultimate Northern Storm, or you could use Dawnbreaker or whatever. Now the enchantment obviously isn't going to be what I have on here. I mean, it worked when I played it. It was fine, but you're going to probably only use an ice glyph because you do extra frost damage, or you could use Befouled to lower their healing. You could use shock to make minor vulnerability, but you use a skill to get minor vulnerability, so really whatever you want. You could even use a poison glyph, I don't know. But sharpen's really the key. And then when you use an Inferno Staff, you do get single target damage, which is very, very nice, and you also get extra heavy attack damage. So I've hit some pretty beefy heavy attacks on people, so yeah. But if you don't know, Desert Rose is a set that you can buy from the gear vendor in Cyrodiil. I believe it's at the town of Bruma, I believe. If I'm wrong, please let me know, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. So what this set gives is 1400 armor, 1100 health, 1000 magic. Very, very well rounded. The health is great on a Warden. The armor is nice because we have a lot of light armor, and magic's obviously good. So when you take damage, you have a 25% chance to restore 2,000 magic. The 25% chance really doesn't matter. It's going to proc pretty much instantly. I mean, how much do you get hit in PvP? It's going to proc all the time. So we'll round up just to make it easy for us. We'll say 2,000 magicka every 4 seconds. So recovery ticks every 2 seconds. If you divide it in half, you get 1,000 magic pretty much every 2 seconds, in my opinion. That's how I like to say. But so that would be like 500 recovery in a theory. Let's say, 4,000 magic every 4 seconds basically is 2,000 or 500 recovery. If you're confused by that, I apologize, but that's how I rationalize it in my head. So yeah, it is a very good set. It gives you health, it gives you armor, and it gives you recovery. Another good set you could use here is Wretched Vitality. I just didn't have a crafter on at the moment, but honestly, I really feel like this might be better because you are getting armor and health out of it. So I'm a big fan of this set. This set has been out forever. It's a day one OG set. I'm a big fan. So Desert Rose has always been good, and it always will be good. It gives you a lot of sustain, and you don't have to do anything for it. You just play. So I'm a big fan of it. So on the back bar, we are using Rallying Cry, another really good set that you pretty much don't have to do anything for. The procs just by basically playing the game. Now, I have Precise on it. Precise really isn't a bad choice because you do have to crit to get the thing to proc, so that's not bad, but let's be honest, it's definitely better to probably use Powered for healing or to use Defending for extra resistances. But Precise is up there as well. It's not bad. Now, you definitely want to use a Berserker Glyph on it because every time you light attack on the back bar, you're going to get that extra damage to get your heals up, and if you switch to your front bar, get your burst damage. So definitely use Berserker. Obviously, like I said, use Power, Defending, or Precise, whatever. Now, this set gives Critical Chance, always nice. Max Magic, obviously nice. And then Critical Chance again. So, pretty good 5-piece, it's not bad, or 3-piece, not bad. Now, when you get switch to the back bar and you get the 5-piece, it says while Battle Spirit is active, which is always in PvP. Critically healing yourself or an ally, so obviously a lot of chances to proc this. You get you and up to 11 other group members within 12 meters to get 300 spell and weapon damage and get 1600 crit resist for 20 seconds. That is insane because this set is going to give you a lot of tankiness and damage, so that's really nice. It's a very good, well-rounded set. It lasts for 20 seconds. Each group member affected reduces it by 14 and 80, and it procs every 15 seconds, meaning there is essentially 100% uptime, which is amazing. It's beautiful. Now, the whole teammate thing, lowering it, that barely ever happens, I notice. There's no difference, I mean, especially if you're playing BGs. So don't worry about it. It's just a really solid set, a really good back bar set. And being able to get damage and crit resist at the same time, like you're basically getting impregnable armor as a set in your back bar while getting extra spell damage. Like it's basically like a mixture of impregnable and like Julianos in a way. So that's really nice. Yeah, and I think a Resto Staff is very necessary on a Magden. So for the monster set, this trait is absolutely atrocious. Invigorating's terrible. You're going to want to use Impen or Reinforce. I'm going to switch it when I get more crystals to transmute. But we are using Malabeth Scourger. This set's insane. I feel like it carries Magden. You need it. This or Engine Guardian, but this one's better in my opinion. You get max health. Like I said, it's better for Magden to have health. And then when you take damage, you have a 10% chance to steal a beam of health. You get Major Vitality, increasing your healing by 16%. This healing received, meaning you can get healed by more from other people and by yourself. It happens every 6 seconds, which is a crazy uptime. I feel like it's like always up. It's insane. So I'm a big fan of it. And then on the body, we're using Rallying Cry, a mixture of Rallying Cry and Desert Rose. Oh god, I have a blue waist piece. Don't hate me. But I have a mixture of heavy and light, obviously. I would like to get a medium piece in there somehow, but I really don't have it. Because these two sets are both light, which really sucks. It's not ideal, but I don't have a choice. I'm using 2 light armor sets. So if you did use Wretched Vitality, you could throw in some medium or heavy, which is because it's crafted. So, but like I said, you want to use Reinforce probably on the bigger pieces, like the 2 heavy pieces or whatever, and then use Well Fitted or Impen. So Impen, Reinforce, or Well Fitted, probably the best in my opinion. Like I said, I have a decent amount of Well Fitted and Reinforced. So on the jewelry, we're using 1 trainee with Infused. I always go Infused in the jewelry if I can. I'm a big fan of Infused. Or even Arcane is solid to get more magic. But we're using 1 trainee to get that extra max health. Like I said, max health is very important on a Magden. So, yeah. And then we have Malakath. It's always good. It always has been good. There's another ring. I forget the name of the ring now. My car or something like that. I forget. But it's the ring that gives extra spell damage and max resistances for every 3 piece you're wearing. Of course, I can tell you the exact description of the ring, but not what the name is. I can't remember. But anyways, I still like Malakath. I mean, it's still solid. You get that extra damage, so it's pretty good. Bread and butter. It's not going to be bad. And then again, one more ring of Desert Rose to have the back bar and front bar combo. You can even switch the front bar and back bar if you want to put Rallying Cry on the front bar, Desert Rose on the back bar. It really doesn't matter. So, yeah, that's my opinion on the gear. For skills, the front bar is as follows. So first we have Fetcher Infection. This skill, I used to really hate it, but I've starting to love it. I realize how important it kind of is. It does 15k, something like that. 16k over 10 seconds, very, very solid dot. Every other cast is 50% damage, so that goes up to 24k over 10 seconds. So if you hit someone twice with it, it'll do crazy damage. And then you get minor vulnerability, which is why I said you might not need a shock glyph, because minor vulnerability is in your skill. So here we have Deep Fissure, obviously bread and butter skill of Warden. Hits super hard, it does a lot of AoE, it can really kill people. It gives you Major Breach, so you don't need to use Weakness to Elements or anything like that. It gives you the Major Breach, which is insane. Also, next update, you're going to get Major and Minor Breach, so you're going to get even more penetration. Here we have Bird of Prey. Bird of Prey is solid, you always need it. It's going to give you movement speed, it gives you a passive Minor Berserk, so that's 10% extra damage with these 2 skills for alone. Very, very solid. And then it gives you an extra 2% from your animal companions. Here we're using Arctic Blast, kind of as a damage ability rather than a burst heal. It obviously does give a burst heal, which is solid, but you want to keep this up at all times pretty much because you're going to hit people, and then every time they hit them 3 times, they get stunned. Very good skill. It's an AoE stun, which is very important. Next update, it is nerfed a little bit. It's going to take 5 hits, but it's really not that big of a deal. It's a solid skill, so that's how I feel about it. I've gone back and forth using this, not using this, and I always find myself coming back to it. And then here we have Screaming Cliff Racer. Now, this is a flex spot. You could use Screaming Cliff Racer, which is solid. It sets up a sun because it sets people off balance. It does more damage at range. It also gives the extra 2% from the passive right here, so that's really nice, but it is a little clunky. So you could also use Crushing Shock or Force Pulse, whatever you want to use. It's another choice. Or if you want to go Vamp, that's very, very valid, and you could use Arterial Burst. But right now I'm using Screaming Cliff Racer. So lastly we have Northern Storm. Obviously a great skill. It gives you extra max magic, but next patch it's going to give extra spell damage instead of max magic, which is really nice. It ticks for a lot. It gives you major protection, and it does a big AoE. So very good for killing Nightblades and healers and stuff like that. It just keeps constant pressure on someone. And then on top of it, I do want to say this is another flex spot. So if you want to use Dawnbreaker instead, I will not be mad because it is also another valid choice. Dawnbreaker's good. I'm just using Northern Storm because I like it. So yeah. So in the back bar, we're using Ice Fortress. Of course, you have to have this skill up. It gives you minor protection. So like Warden has access to so many nice buffs, and it gives you, your obvious resistance. Here we're using Crystallized Slab. Now again, this skill is a must in my opinion, but if you want to run Vamp and run Mistform instead, I will not be mad because that's again another valid choice. I'm a big fan of Crystallized Slab. It essentially negates snipe spammers, it negates Zorks, it just destroys people that use projectiles, even like Flames of Oblivion and stuff from DKs, like it doesn't hit you. You're immune. And the skill costs 3,400, but you can absorb up to 3 projectiles, and you get 750 magic back every time, so you could essentially get back over 2,100 worth of the skill cost every cast, meaning it costs almost nothing to use. And again, it's so much resistance on for projectiles, and you do damage 6,100 every time it goes off every half second. And next update, it's getting buffed. It's going to serve as a hard CC, so it's going to stun people. So this skill just offers so much utility. I mean, like projectile negation, extra magic back, it does damage, and it'll be a CC. So you'll be able to have a CC in Crystallized Slab at range and Arctic Blast. Like, it's just a nice toolkit. So I don't see myself ever taking it off. Leeching Vines is the next skill. Again, this skill is meh. I don't think it's great, but it does give 2 heals at once, so it gives a heal every time you take damage, and then you get life steal. So it is a solid heal. It's not the best heal on earth. It's just not. I mean, leeching, the other form of it, I can't remember the other name of it, but the other morph is okay, but the burst heal at the end of it isn't great. So I think this is better. It's just, it's a good heal. And then here we're using rapid regen, which I feel like is an absolute must for this build. But when you do get your Malabeth to proc and rapid regens going, you're tanky. You're not going to die 1v1 for sure, or even 1v2, 3, 4, whatever. So I feel like rapid regen and leeching vines together creates a nasty combo, and this one lasting 10 seconds is great. It's a must in my opinion. And then lastly, obviously we're using Blue Betty. It gives you a good amount of recovery. It gives you major brutality, major sorcery, and it's a cleanse. Like I said, Warden has some really stacked skills to where you can access multiple things with one skill, like minor vulnerability and damage, you know, major breach and damage, minor berserk and speed, like a stun and damage and heal. Like it's so much, you know. So you can do a lot with it. And then lastly, we're using Life Giver. My opinion, it's better than it's a lot better than Secluded Grove. It just heals for a lot. You're basically unkillable when it's up. Like you're not going to die. It's just that simple. So if you use this, you know, it's basically like a get out of jail free card. So that's what I'm using in terms of skills, in terms of gear, in terms of the character screen. So like I said, if you want to sub out something, you can sub out Cliff Racer for Force Pulse or Arterial Burst. You could sub this out for Dawnbreaker if you want. You could sub Crystallized Slab out for Misform, maybe even Leeching Vines for Misform. It's up to you, but I do think this build is solid. I have a great time using it. It's so fun to just sit there and let people hit you. And even with light armor, it's actually pretty good because you're fast. You have a less cost of sprint. You get a lot of recovery and reduced costs and penetration from the build. So I am a big fan of it. If you want to, guys, you also have the option to sub out Malakath with Wild Hunt or the other ring that I mentioned. So yeah, that's the build. I hope you guys really enjoy it. I am not going over CP. I repeat, I'm not going over CP because I play no CP, predominantly BGs. So I don't want to go over something if I haven't really put the time into learning it, you know. Like I don't want to just go over CP for the fun of it. Like I'm not going to do that and give you false information that I'm not really sure about. If I play CP later in the future, I'll go over it for sure. But if you need CP recommendations, I'd go look at another video. So thanks guys, have a good one, and I really hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think down below, please. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good one.